There is a language older than words, a voice that speaks in symbols, in flashes of imagery that dissolve like mist upon waking. It is the voice of your higher self, the part of you that remembers what your waking mind has forgotten, the part that sees beyond the veil of time and illusion. And when it speaks to you in dreams, it does so with urgency, with a gravity that lingers long after your eyes open to the dawn. Dreams are not merely the mind's way of sorting through the debris of the day. They are portals, bridges between the seen and the unseen, between the world you navigate in daylight and the vast, uncharted territories of your soul. Some dreams are whispers, others are alarms. Some are riddles wrapped in metaphor, while others strike with the clarity of a lightning bolt, leaving no room for misinterpretation. But when certain images, certain sensations, certain recurring visions appear in the theater of your sleep, they are not accidents, they are warnings. Consider this. What if the dream of falling is not just a nervous twitch of the subconscious, but a signal that you are losing your grip on something vital in your waking life? What if the dream of being chased is not random anxiety, but a message that you are running from a truth you refuse to face? And what if the dream of teeth crumbling, of being naked in public, of standing at the edge of an abyss? What if these are not misfirings of the brain, but deliberate transmissions from a deeper intelligence within you? The ancients knew this. The Egyptians built temples for dream incubation, believing that the gods spoke through the night. The Greeks sought the wisdom of Asclepius in sacred sleep, where healing visions were delivered like prescriptions for the soul. Indigenous shamans traversed the dream world as effortlessly as they walked the earth, understanding that the unseen realms held keys to survival, to destiny, to the very fabric of reality. And now, in an age where science has only begun to scratch the surface of consciousness, we are rediscovering what the mystics always knew. Dreams are not just reflections, they are directives. But why warnings? Why would your higher self, that boundless, eternal aspect of your being, choose to communicate through symbols of danger, of urgency, of impending transformation? Because the soul does not waste time with trivialities. It speaks in codes that bypass the ego, the doubts, the rationalizations that keep you stagnant. It speaks in a language that shakes you awake, because sometimes the only way to get your attention is to show you what you refuse to see in daylight. This is not about superstition. This is about recognition, the eerie, undeniable feeling when a dream lingers like a shadow, when it tugs at your awareness long after you've left your bed. It is about the moments when synchronicity aligns, when a dream's warning manifests in waking life, and you are left with the chilling realization: you were told, you were shown, and now the choice is yours. So we begin here, at the threshold of the unseen. This is an exploration of the dreams that are not mere figments, but urgent transmissions from the depths of your own being. These are the visions that carry weight, that demand your attention, that, if heeded, could alter the course of your life. Because the higher self does not speak idly, and when it warns you, it is always for a reason. Dreams are the subconscious mind's poetry. But when your higher self speaks through them, the verses take on a prophetic weight. There is a difference between the mundane processing of daily life and the profound, often unsettling dreams that seem to carry a message, one that lingers like a half-remembered prophecy. These are not random neural firings. They are deliberate transmissions from a deeper layer of awareness, a part of you that exists beyond time, beyond the limited identity you wear like a mask in waking life. To understand these warnings, we must first grasp the core themes that define them. These are not vague symbols open to endless interpretation. They follow an ancient, almost archetypal grammar, a language of the soul that has been recognized across cultures, epochs, and esoteric traditions. 1. The higher self as the eternal watcher. Your higher self is not some distant, abstract entity. It is you, the you that exists outside the constraints of linear time, the you that has lived before and will live again, the you that sees your life not as a straight line, but as a vast, interconnected web of choices and consequences. When it sends a warning in a dream, it does so because it perceives a fork in the road long before your conscious mind does. It sees the patterns repeating, the traps you are walking into, the opportunities you are ignoring. And because it cannot shout over the noise of your daily distractions, it speaks in symbols, vivid, emotional, impossible to ignore. 2. The 3 levels of warning. Dreams. Not all strange dreams are messages, but the ones that tend to fall into 3 distinct categories. Premonitions. These are dreams that show you a future event, sometimes literal, sometimes symbolic, with startling clarity. You may dream of a car crash only to narrowly avoid 1 day later. You may see a tidal wave and then, in waking life, face an emotional flood you didn't see coming. Crisis alarms. These dreams carry a visceral urgency, often accompanied by a sense of dread or an inexplicable certainty that something is wrong. You may dream of drowning, of being trapped, of a loved one vanishing, only to wake with the unshakable feeling that you must act. Soul corrections. These are the dreams that reveal where you are out of alignment. Teeth falling out? A metaphor for powerlessness. Being chased? A reflection of what you're avoiding. Naked in public? A sign of hidden vulnerability or fear of exposure. 3. The role of fear, and why it's not. What you think. Many of these warning dreams are frightening, but their purpose is not to paralyze you. It is to activate you. Fear, in the realm of the higher self, is not an enemy. It is a messenger. The discomfort you feel upon waking is the soul's way of shaking you awake, of forcing you to pay attention to what you've been ignoring. The key is not to dismiss the fear, but to decipher its meaning. 4. Synchronicity as confirmation. A true warning dream does not exist in isolation. It is often followed by synchronicities, uncanny coincidences that seem to mirror the dream's message. You dream of a black dog, and the next day, one crosses your path. You dream of a house collapsing, and then you overhear a conversation about instability. These are not random. They are confirmations, breadcrumbs left by the universe to say, you were shown this for a reason. Now, what will you do? 5. The illusion of literal interpretation. The higher self rarely speaks in plain language. A dream of death is rarely about physical death. It is about transformation. A dream of falling is not about gravity, but about surrender or loss of control. The symbols are personal, yet universal, shaped by your life, but rooted in a collective unconscious that transcends individual experience. To decode them, you must learn to think in metaphor, to feel the meaning rather than dissect it logically. This is the architecture of the warning dream, a bridge between realms, a flicker of insight from the part of you that knows more than your waking mind ever could. The question is not whether these dreams are real. The question is whether you are willing to listen. There is an old Sufi parable about a man who dreamed night after night of a hidden treasure buried beneath a bridge in a distant city. The dream was so vivid, so insistent, that he finally embarked on the arduous journey to find it. After weeks of travel, he arrived at the bridge, only to be confronted by a guard who scoffed at his quest. "Foolish man," the guard said. "I too have dreamed of treasure, but mine was buried beneath the hearth of a house in a village far from here." And in that moment, the traveler recognized his own home in the guard's description. He rushed back, dug beneath his fireplace, and found the gold that had been waiting for him all along. This is the nature of the higher self's warnings. They are never arbitrary, never merely fantastical. They are maps to what you have forgotten, mirrors held up to the parts of your life you refuse to examine. But to read them, you must first understand their language, a lexicon of symbols that transcends culture and time. The drowning dream. When the soul is gasping for air. A woman dreams again and again of being pulled beneath dark water. She thrashes, but the surface recedes. Just as her lungs burn with the need for breath, she wakes, heart pounding, sheets damp with sweat. In the waking world, she is not drowning, but she is in a marriage that suffocates her, a career that drains her, a life she no longer recognizes as her own. The water is not water, it is the weight of accumulated silence, of swallowed words, of a self buried beneath expectations. Her higher self does not show her this dream to frighten her, but to force her to confront what she has been refusing to see. She is running out of time. Water, in dreams, is the subconscious itself, the emotional undercurrents we navigate by daylight without realizing how deep they run. To dream of drowning is to be shown, in no uncertain terms, that you are in over your head. The chase, what you're running from, is already within you. A man dreams of being pursued by a faceless figure. No matter how fast he runs, the thing behind him gains ground. He wakes just before it catches him, pulse racing, the echo of his own fear lingering like a ghost. In his waking life, he is not being hunted, but he is running from a past mistake, from a truth about himself he cannot bear to face, from the shadow self he has spent years trying to outpace. The pursuer is not a monster. It is the part of himself he has exiled. And the higher self's message is clear. You cannot outrun what you refuse to acknowledge. The crumbling teeth, a warning about power. Teeth are ancient symbols of vitality, of the ability to bite into life, to nourish oneself, to defend. So when they fall out in dreams, when they crack, when they dissolve like sand, it is rarely about dental health. It is about a loss of personal power. A dreamer finds herself spitting teeth into her palm, horrified as they disintegrate between her fingers. In waking life, she is in a situation where she feels voiceless, where her words have no weight, where she is being systematically eroded. The dream is not a prophecy of physical decay. It is a screaming alarm from the soul. You are allowing yourself to be diminished. The forgotten house, the rooms of the unlived self. Houses in dreams are the psyche. The rooms we wander are the chambers of memory, of potential, of forgotten selves. And so when a dreamer finds herself in a house she didn't know she owned, discovering corridor after corridor of locked doors, the message is not about real estate. It is about the unexplored territories of her own being. Perhaps there is a room filled with paintings, a life she could have lived as an artist. Perhaps there is a nursery, dusty with disuse, a motherhood she thought she didn't want. The higher self does not show us these spaces to taunt us, but to remind us, you contain multitudes, and some of them are starving for attention. The falling dream, surrender or control. Falling is one of the most common warning dreams, and yet its meaning is often misunderstood. It is not merely a symbol of insecurity or fear of failure, though it can be. At its core, the falling dream is about trust. Are you resisting a necessary descent? Are you clinging to a ledge of your own making, terrified to let go? A man dreams of slipping from a cliff, grasping at roots that tear away in his hands. In waking life, he is white-knuckling a relationship, a career, an identity that no longer fits. The higher self is not cruel for showing him this fall. It is compassionate. It is saying, the ground you fear is not your enemy. The fall itself is the path, the thread that binds them all. These are not just dreams. They are initiations, trials by night meant to prepare you for the waking world's reckonings. The higher self does not waste your time with trivialities. Every symbol, every chilling scenario, is a puzzle meant to be solved. Because the truth is this, you already know what these dreams mean. You recognize them on a level deeper than logic, in the way your skin prickles when you retell them. in the way they cling to you like smoke long after you've opened your eyes. The question is no longer what do they mean. The question is, what will you do now that you've been shown? A warning is only as powerful as the response it inspires. To dream of a house on fire and then shrug it off as just a dream is to ignore the smoke already rising in your waking life. The higher self does not speak idly. It speaks because there is still time to change course, to avert disaster, to step into a version of reality where the warning was heeded. But how? How do we translate these midnight visions into daylight action? 1. The art of dream recall. Becoming a conscious witness. Most people lose half their dreams within minutes of waking. The first step in working with warning dreams is to remember them. Keep a journal by your bed. The moment you wake, before checking your phone, before speaking, before the day's noise drowns out the night's whispers. Write down everything. Not just images, but sensations. The weight in your chest when the faceless figure appeared, the metallic taste as your teeth crumbled, the exact quality of light in the forgotten house. These details are clues. They are the higher self's way of underlining what matters most. 2. Decoding the symbols. Personal versus universal meaning. A snake might be a biblical tempter to one person and a kundalini awakening to another. Context is everything. Start by asking, what does this symbol mean to me personally? E.g., dreaming of a black dog when you were bitten as a child. What is its archetypal meaning? E.g., dogs as guardians of the underworld in mythology. How do I feel when I recall this symbol? Dread? Curiosity? A strange sense of recognition? Cross-reference with reputable dream dictionaries, but trust your intuition above all. The higher self tailors its messages to your lexicon. 3. The 3-day rule, watching for synchronicities. Warning dreams often manifest echoes in waking life within 72 hours. After a vivid dream, pay attention to recurring numbers, animals, or phrases. Notice if you encounter the dream's symbols in movies, conversations, or random events. Track any sudden opportunities or obstacles that mirror the dream's theme. Example: you dream of a broken bridge, then your business partner unexpectedly quits, burning a bridge, or you stumble upon a book about rebuilding trust. This is the universe whispering, this is what your dream was about. Now act. 4. Ritualizing the message. From insight to embodiment symbols, gain power when anchored in physicality. Try. Water ritual for drowning dreams. Submerge your hands in a bowl of water and declare, I choose to rise. Pour it out under a tree, visualizing release. Mirror work for chaste dreams. Stand before a mirror, name what you've been running from, and say, I face you now. Fire ceremony for decay dreams. Write what's rotting in your life, a job, a habit, on paper, and safely burn it. These acts signal to your subconscious, I am listening. 5. The shadow integration protocol. Warning dreams often expose shadow aspects, the parts of ourselves we deny. When a dream unsettles you, name the shadow. This dream shows me I'm terrified of abandonment, being powerless, etc. Dialogue with it. Write a conversation between you and the dream's antagonist, the pursuer, the crumbling teeth. Ask, what do you want me to know? Reclaim the energy. Every shadow holds stolen power. If you dreamed of being chased by a monster, journal. The monster's strength is actually mine. I reclaim my ferocity. 6. When dreams predict physical danger. Some warnings are startlingly literal. Precognitive dreams of accidents, illnesses, or disasters have been documented across cultures. If you dream of vehicular accidents, postpone travel or hyper-focus on road safety, health crises, schedule a medical checkup, especially if the dream highlights a specific body part. Violence or intrusion, strengthen home security, change routines. History is full of those who ignored such dreams and regretted it, and those who heeded them and survived. 7. The reality shift. altering the dream's trajectory. A woman dreams nightly of her partner leaving. Instead of obsessing over betrayal, she asks, "Is this a prediction or a reflection of my own fear of abandonment?" She starts therapy, communicates her insecurities, and the dreams stop. This is the alchemy of warning dreams. They show us possible futures, but the present moment is where we reroute them. The final test: did you learn the lesson? Warning dreams will repeat with escalating intensity until their message is integrated. The drowning dream returns until you leave the toxic relationship. The falling dream recurs until you quit the stifling job. The higher self is relentless because it loves you too much to let you sleepwalk into disaster. The choice is always yours. Dismiss the dream as nonsense or treat it as the divine intervention it may well be. There is a moment in every hero's journey when the call comes. Not as a whisper, but as a thunderclap. A dream that shakes you from slumber, a vision that haunts your daylight hours, a symbol that will not release its grip on your psyche. This is no accident. The higher self does not speak in riddles to confuse you, but to awaken you, to shatter the illusions of the mundane world and remind you that reality is far stranger, far more alive with meaning than you have been led to believe. You are being summoned, not by gods or spirits, but by the most ancient part of yourself, the part that remembers you are more than flesh and bone, more than a name and a history, more than the roles you play in this fleeting human drama. The dreams that frighten you, the ones that linger like smoke in your mind, are not punishments. They are lifelines thrown across the chasm of forgetting.